Welcome back to another episode of Wealth Within Reach. And this is episode 4 of my Reinvention series. And I have to start off just with a lot of transparency right now. So I sat down. Well, one, my life has been crazy busy between preparing to take my sabbatical that I take every year and preparing for my son to graduate and everything that comes with that. And, it's just a lot. Life has been a lot. I even out despite that, I committed to jumping back into YouTube, posting consistently 2 times a week, no excuses. Okay. And it's one of those things that whenever I set a commitment, I'm not committing for algorithm. I'm not committing to, create some kind of metric for clients or whatever. I set a commitment because I want to keep my promises to myself. And this is one of those things I wanted to keep to myself. I really enjoy sharing information. I enjoy connecting with people in this way. I feel like the things that I have to say are, need to be said. And so this is why I'm doing this. And today it has been falling all apart. I started and I was supposed to be with my camera and it stopped working and my tech person, aka my son, he's gone to class. My sound wasn't working. And so it was so easy to just say, you know what, I'm just not going to do this today. Even though I set this deadline, even though I said I was going to do this and give myself an excuse out of it. But I decided not to do that because that's what this series is all about. It's about reinvention. It's about doing the things to continue to become the person that you want to become. And I want to be the person who does not break promises to myself. Okay. I want to also be the person that does not get caught up in ism and feels like, okay, well, if I record this from my phone, it's not going to have this and this is not going to happen. The sound is not, I'm not going to do that either because the biggest thing that I'm communicating to you, I want to show you that I'm walking in that too. So even though I got counseling coming up in a few minutes, this is the window I have to do this. I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to talk to my counselor about how the process of even getting here from there. Okay. But so this episode won't be too long. But the goal of this episode that I wanted to present to you guys for episode 4 was just about what are the things that we need to leave behind to continue to work towards the people we are becoming in this next chapter? Okay. One, I would love to hear your feedback about this reinvention series. Has it been helpful? Have you had some big takeaways? I'd love to hear this. I typically talk about real estate strategy and all those things, but this year, as we finish out the year, I wanted to take a beat and to focus on the wealth within our mindset, the wealth within our relationships, the wealth within who we are, because that really does help to set the foundation as we go to build wealth from there. And I just wanted to do that. So I love to hear from you guys what you have been taking away from this series as we close it out. On Sunday, the next episode will be the final series in the reinvention series. And then we're going to get back to all your fun real estate stuff. All right. So as we get into this episode, let's talk about 3 things to let go as we move forward to this next chapter. Whether for you, that next chapter is 40, 30, 50, or just your next chapter, let's talk about some things, at least 3 things that you should focus on letting go. Number 1, we letting go of all the shoulds. The shoulds. I operated for a long time in the shoulds, especially being a believer. There was, it's one of these things where there is the Bible and there is Christian culture. And a part of the faith journey process is learning the difference. Okay. And I just think for me, a lot of my shoulds existed with relationships. There was a big one. I should be this person's friend because they also love the Lord. I should do this because, I should do this because I'm their mom. No, I lived a lot of shoulds for a really long time. And what I've learned is that, again, I season some extra seasoning and sprinkles on top of actually what the Lord is wanting me to do and through obedience. And obedience comes through prayer, it comes through reading the word, it comes through conviction, not from external people making you feel guilty and feeling like you should do this, right? And so a big part of me understanding more of who I am, more of what my gifts are, more of what my purpose that God has put here for me has helped me to learn how to not no longer operate in those shoulds. It is I get to or I want to, right? It's all about alignment. Like one of the things, I think I posted this recently and it was it was interesting. Sometimes I'm like, I post something, I'm like, ooh. Well, first of all, let's talk about threads. 25 introduced threads. And threads is like a millennial homegirl chat. At least that's what my algorithm is. And so I am a lot more candid on threads. I be just sharing some random thoughts. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, I don't know if you shared that. But recently I shared that pretty much most of the areas of my life, I can be type A minus B. And I say A minus B because I'm not super, super type A, but I'm also not super, super type B. So I'm kind of like in the middle. And what I've realized is that I prefer and thrive in friendships that are more similar to like me. If you are super type A, you probably gonna drive me crazy. And especially people who are type A that aren't like aware of it and aren't like trying to grow in those areas. It's too much. Life is already hard enough. Like, let's not make it more difficult, right? And so I put on there that, like my friends are the people who are, I said type B, but now I say type AB, the people who are in between. And it was just really interesting, it's like some of the responses or whatever. But I just know that I probably wouldn't be bold enough to even make a post like that 5 years ago because I'll be so focused on, oh, well, who's gonna feel like I'm not their people, and I shouldn't do that because I should be friends with everyone. And it's like, no, I love everyone. I don't hate anyone, but that doesn't mean that we have to be friends. That doesn't mean that that person has to be in my life because a part of the shoulds that I let go is again, the alignment is are we in the same phase from a mindset standpoint? I have friends who are married, divorced, single, kids, no kids. That doesn't necessarily matter to me, but are we in the same season? Are we striving towards something? Are we looking to make an impact on the world? Are we positive? Are we constantly working towards improvement and making ourselves better? Are we the type of people who are encouraging versus critical? Those are the kind of people that I want to be around. So that's what I mean by I no longer force myself to be friends with people who don't align with me in that way just because again, we got this much energy. And if you don't align with that, you're going to drain all of it. And I got kids, I got husbands, I got businesses, I got employees who mandatorily require a lot of that, information, that capacity along with friends and family. So, no, we letting go of the shoulds. Okay. This is all about choosing and asking God to really help you align with people who should be in your life and choosing that obedience to the Lord over other people's expectations that you never even agreed to meet. Okay. So that's a big one. Number two, setting boundaries to protect your peace. This is a big one. This is one of those things where I'm actually already really helping my kids learn about in their age because this is something that I feel like along my journey of letting go of the shoulds, I've also learned about setting boundaries. Being a person like me who is a recovering control freak, I've learned that controlling can easily come off like you're someone's parent. And even when you're someone's parent, you really can't control them. At some point, they get to the point where they they are truly their own people, and they gonna do what they want to do, right? And so a part of what I've learned in my just phase of surrender as I've been becoming who I am in this next chapter is I've learned that I don't need to control anything. I don't need to try to control anybody. What I need to do is if I desire someone to change or something to change, I need to set a boundary and allow that person to meet it. And that person has a decision. Do they want to meet my boundary or not? And that what helps to determine if they are going to be able to stay in my life or not. There's no need for me to try to control someone else's behavior. And I can try to give you a quick example. And this is just a hypothetical example, but maybe there's someone in your life that struggles with, I don't know, yelling or just like not keeping their voice down when they're talking to you. A boundary, well, someone you trying to control them would be stop yelling at me, stop da da da, stop da da da. You're telling them what they need to do, right? That is trying to control them, trying to control their behavior. Versus a boundary is, hey, I don't appreciate it when you raise your voice at me. So if you continue to raise your voice at me, I'm going to have to leave. Again, I am not trying to control them. I am just telling them what I will be able to deal with and what I'm not able to deal with. And if they decide to continue to yell, then they can yell. I just won't be around. And I've applied boundaries to every area of my life. And that really does allow people to be able to show up and meet whatever, expectation that you're setting or not. And that's fine. And so, that's something that's been really big. And that's something that I suggest that you let go as you move forward in your next phase. And last but not least, we are moving with alignment instead of obligations. It's very similar to the first, but a little bit more specific than the shoulds. This shift, it really does define everything. It's choosing decisions that feel aligned in your spirit versus the ones that are simply on paper or more traditions or family expectations, right? It's like really slowing down to hear yourself again, hear like what aligns with you in this current season of your life? What is God nudging you towards in this season of your life? Even if that does stretch you a little bit, right? So really helping you to move in that place of alignment versus obligation. And it could feel a little scary for sure at first, like we talked about in the previous episode, when you're in the messy middle, how that can feel very difficult. But what's really important is like, in order to become who this next chapter of who you want to be, there's going to have to be an adjustment in what you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, and being able to identify what your values are, especially in this season, able to figure out, okay, how am I going to use my energy in this season? And what are the things that are like, I call it, I have my clients do it all the time. You need to create your not to do list. All right. These are the things that you're like, hell or high water. These are things that you're not going to do in this season. Because why? These are the things that are draining your energy and making it impossible for you to do the other things that you want to do. So as you have these opportunities, or whether it's opportunities or maybe it's relationships, you have these, maybe you're adding friends to a community or you're dating, you really need to create this not to do list, or, just the type of people who you're like, this is the people who I need to avoid and not be around this season, instead of feeling like you're obligated to for whatever reason. And really be able to match that as various opportunities comes, after various situations happen, or after various people try to enter in your life based on whatever you're looking for that alignment from. And what happens is this is gonna give you confidence as you move forward within this next season that you're in. And if you're like, how do I determine what my values are? How do you da, da, da? I actually created a prompt guide that I did back in episode 1. It's a list of it's a list of prompt questions that you can like plug into AI, and you can answer those questions, and it can actually help you get the language for what your values are and what you need to be focused on in this season of your life. Right. I know this was a short one, but I hope this episode was helpful. Let me know in the comments if what your biggest takeaway was from this. Let me know, like, what are the things that you're letting go as you move forward. I feel like I have so many other things too, but we'll probably dive into it a little bit later. But yeah, let me know, what are some things that you're letting go as you move into your next chapter. And I will see you at the next episode, our final episode of the Reinvention series. Thanks for hanging with me today. Bye.